What's good, YouTube? This video is a little bit late. This is my deck profile from BCS Philly. I kind of forgot to post this. Well, I forgot to make it all, in general. I had a bunch of stuff to do as soon as BCF was over, between working and everything. So I know the ban list just came out, but I might as well give you the deck list regardless, so that you know what I use, what I top with, and why I play what I played. Also, when I'm done with the deck list, I will also show you innovations for the ban list using Usurp, because that's what I'm currently testing. I'll probably throw out a deck profile once I take out the Usurps and try the Harvest Elf build as well. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to be playing one copy of Rubber Was, the grade 0 starter. Proof, I guess, that I topped 12th place. Any starter, it doesn't matter, you can run whatever you want. I ran one copy of Deep Lands, Grass Cane, and the Ride Line. The Deep Lands Ride Line is pretty damn correct. This one says when you ride the grade 2 on top of it, you can search your deck for the order card added to hand. Very simple, early deck thinning, so why not? I run the grade 2 Deep Lands Zilgon. When you ride the grade 3 on top of him, you can look at the top 7 cards of your deck, mill any 2. Another quick way to deck thin and get your pieces in drop zone as fast as possible. And then, of course, the grade 3 Regiregnus. Regiregnus' ability is you can Energy Blast 2, act once per turn, call a card from your drop zone to rearguard circle. So you can anything you want, bring it back to rearguard. And then at the end of the battle that he attacks, you can counterblast 1, retire 2 rearguards. Choose up to 1 grade 3 card with Regiregnus and its different card name, so the other version, and ride at a stand, and it gets drive -2 until end of the turn. When you ride by this effect, the unit that you ride on top of him gets the critical and power increase from any trigger effects that you got for that first battle. So if you drive check a double critical trigger and you give all effects to the Vanguard, when you re-ride, the next Vanguard will have plus 20k plus 2 critical. Same thing with Overtrigger. If you give 100 million to the Vanguard, 100 million will go to the new grade 3. I play 3 of the Persona Ride because Persona Riding is really good in this deck. If you miss a turn of Persona Ride, it's pretty hard to come back from that. But yeah, just try not to miss your Persona Ride. Then I run 4 copies of Regiregnus Athanasios. Athanasios is the undead form of Regiregnus. He is, when he's placed on top of a grade 3, placed by the ability of your Deep Lands with Regiregnus, he can Soul Blast 1 to call copy of OG Regiregnus to the rearguard circle, and at the end of the turn, that OG copy that you called out gets rewrote on top of him. It has to be the one that's called from his effect, or else it doesn't work. And when he attacks, he gets drive +1 as long as your opponent is at grade 3 or greater if he was placed from drop this turn. So you get 2 drives from your Vanguard and then 1 from the extra attack. And then his other ability is continuous. He gets +5 shield for every grade of your Deep Lands Vanguard. So if you're at grade 1, he's 5k shield. Grade 2, he's 10k shield. Grade 3 is 15k shield. So that's probably the best thing I like about him, is that he's not a dead card in hand. He has actual shield value, which helps a lot, especially because of the amount of grade 3s and non-shields you have to run. So it's great that he has actual shield. Then we run 3 copies of Riding Usurp Dragon. Riding Usurp is literally just a free call. When you ride a grade 3 Vanguard, you superior call him from the drop zone. No cost at all. So you use him to fuel your order card that has a cost of retiring a rearguard. And he just helps you recycle every single turn. It's also how you get 6 attacks. So with the new ban list that just dropped, people are opting to run him over the Harvest Elf because they're choice restricted. He gives you 6 attacks. Harvest Elf gives you hand advantage in early game. I'm still debating on what I'm going to run. I think Harvest Elf is probably better, but 6 attacks is cool, I guess. Then we run 4 copies of Into the Deep Lands, which is the order card for this deck. This order card is pretty cool. You can play it from drop zone. So if you have it in hand, you can use it from hand, or you can discard it early game and use it from drop zone later on. It is Soul Blast 1, retire 1 of your rear guards, which is why he's so good coming back for free every single turn. If you have a Vanguard with Regiregnus and its card name, you could choose up to 2 cards with grade less than or equal to the Vanguard from your drop zone, call them to separate rear guard circles. So you can call your 2 grade 2s, 2 grade 1 cards, grade 3, or grade 2, whatever you want to do. Gives you kill 1, call 2. Your Vanguard then gets 5k power, and then for each copy of this card in your bind zone, or sorry, in your order zone, you activate the skill. If there's no copies in your order zone, you put one into the order zone. If there's one already in the order zone, you bind it. When you play this card, if you already have one in the bind zone or in the order zone, and you have to bind one, the second ability that gives all your deep lands called from effects plus 5k changes to 10k for the turn. So when you play it and your opponent's at grade 3, your deep lands that are called from this effect or from your Vanguard's effect, that's the only way. It has to be one of those 2 effects. They get an additional 5k power. And then if you played one and it's in the bind zone, it gets 10k power now. And it's just for that turn. It doesn't stack. So if you have 1 in the order zone, 2 in the bind zone, it's not plus 15. It's still just plus 10. Just don't get that confused. One of the cards that I decided to play for the tournament specifically because of the meta is Bullet Seed, Vagilla, Heart Luru, Minerva, Deep Lands, what else? Luard. All of those decks get multi-attacks. And Bullet Seed just helps you defend against those multi-attacks, especially if you use this for your first Guardian. So say Heart Luru swings with one of the rear guards, you activate Bullet Seed to guard it. When they do their restand play, you're going to get 10k power. So it's almost like you hit a defensive trigger for nothing. I think it was really good this meta. When it comes to the upcoming meta, I'm not sure how good it'll be, but I think it'll still be worth trying out. So we just run the 1 copy, and shout out to Alex V who got me my holo copy right before the tournament. That was great. Really appreciate you, man. Next up, I play 3 copies of Deep Lands Orgity. Orgity's like probably the small backbone to this deck. He's a 10k shield at all times if you have a Deep Lands Vanguard, and when he's placed, you can counterblast 1 or put a card from hand into soul. Please keep in mind there is the word "or" in between. Or means one or the other. It does not mean both. People were confused, thinking that you had to pay both costs. It's not. It's one or the other. You counterblast or put a card from hand into soul, draw a card. And if you're at, I believe it's your Vanguard. If your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, he gets 5k power. So 15k beater, 10k shield on board or from hand, and he draws you a card. Pretty solid card. There's really no reason to take this out. Then I run 3 copies of the promo, Deep Lands Maideth. I feel bad for the people that waited to get this card. I got this when it first dropped just because I'm still a KA main, and any generic cards that could potentially be good someday, I decided to pick up, and this was one of them, and I'm glad I did. She's basically the teeth fault for this deck. When she's placed, other than by a unit card's ability, you can Soul Blast 1, check top 5, call a card with grade less than or equal to the Vanguard, as long as you played an order that turn. So you play the order, call her out, call Orgity out, usually is what you do. They'll get some power from the order cards, and then you use her effect to help build your board even more, searching for your grade 1 cards for your boosters. And her other effect, which is freaking amazing, is Energy Blast 2. When she attacks, you can choose one of the opponent's rear guards. That unit cannot stand during the next stand phase, and it cannot intercept for the turn. She also gets 5k power if the opponent is grade 3 or greater. Stunning was surprisingly super strong in this format. I think it's still going to be strong come the next format. I have a couple of different ideas I want to try out with like a stun heavy build. And I think stunning was actually insane this format. It helped me so much. Telling like Urzaver you can't intercept with your 15k interceptor. You know, stunning dragon on the opponent's Heart Lure board, and they either have to find a way to kill it off and waste resources and then bring it back, or they hopefully have one in their soul already or in their hand. It's really nice for making the opponent waste resources. And keep in mind, it doesn't rest the unit, so if the unit is standing, you're not doing anything because it's already standing. But if it's rested, it cannot stand. There were times when my opponent chose not to attack with the rear guard because they didn't want their cards to hit stunned, but I still use her effect to stop it from intercepting. Insert Usurp here. He's a 15k interceptor, so even if he's already standing, I'm still stopping him because I don't want him to intercept. Next up for one-ofs, I play 1 ace unit, 1 twin cast. Twin cast is my regardless piece of choice. The defense is great. You need the defense, regardless of what people say. Fire Regalis is cool and all, but defense is way better. Survivability makes this deck strong. And Ace Unit for more digging. It's EV3 one place. You can choose a card from your top 7 and send it to the drop zone, then choose a card from the drop zone and call it to rearguard circle. So if you're missing one of your main key pieces, you can mill it out, call it to rearguard circle, or if you still don't have anything crazy going on, then she can be potentially a 25k beater on the unique skill turn. So she's really good. I'm not going to explain this card. If you don't know it by now, I'm sorry. You should try and learn what the card does. Then I run 3 copies of Philander. The Conceited Noble for a reason. He's a great card. He's when placed from hand. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Mill 1 card. Great for early game. You slap him down super early. He just mills you a card from your top 5. Help you deck thin. When you have 10 or more in drop, which usually by turn 3, you should have 10 or more in drop. He's a continuous 18k for no reason. So he's a very strong card. I thought about running 4, but I ran 3, because I wanted to run 4 of this. Harvest Elf. Harvest Elf is probably one of the most broken cards of Stoic in my opinion. When placed from hand, you can Soul Blast 1, call a token, plant token. So turn 1, turn 2, play her down, Soul Blast 1, call a token. At the end of the battle, as she boosts, you retire the column and draw a card. So you call it down early game, get a nice little 10k column going for early rush, and then you refund your unit. And then later on in the game, you call her out from your Vanguard skill or from the order for some reason. You put her behind Usurp on the 6th attack or 5th attack, whatever he is, and kill the column and draw a card because they both come out basically for free at that point. And then we run 4 PGs. For this tournament specifically, I opted to run just the 4 regular PGs. I really didn't want to accidentally get stuck with like too many blitz orders in hand, even though it felt like that probably wouldn't have happened because of how fast-paced the games were and how much I was drawing cards. But because I ran both Twin Cast and this, I did try to do just the 4 regular PGs. Again, because it's also BCS, I didn't want to, decrease my luck in any way, shape, or form. So 4 base PGs. Then we run 4 heal triggers. I run 2 base, 2 of the restand heals because, again, all the top decks right now, Vergilla, Heartluru, Minerva, all restand. So this card is great against them. For my one random homie at the locals that plays Blankmire, it's really good against Blankmire when he restands. So yeah, 2-2 split. If you're gonna just run 4 heals, just run 4 of the base ones. I wouldn't run 4 of this right now, especially not in the new meta coming up. Then I run 4 effect crits. I need 2 more of these. If you know anybody, let me know. 4 base crits. Their criticals don't even matter. They don't have to be insoles. They could be all vanilla triggers. Who cares? I ran 3 draw triggers. MVP of the day. The draw triggers saved me so much defensively, drawing cards, and offensively. People run front triggers for the 20k shield. I personally don't think the 20k shield matters as much as getting the extra cards in hand because you need your pieces as fast as possible, and they're fantastic on defense. And then plus favorite because it's my favorite over trigger. I refuse to run anything else. I did at one point test blue just because the idea of picking up PGs from the drop zone is cool, but plus favorite ended up being the #1 pick for a plethora of reasons. Yeah, so I think the day went pretty smooth. After I made top 32, I was extremely tired because I didn't get too much sleep the night before and made the earnest mistake of going ahead and just not power shuffling my deck after deck check for some reason. Why I did that, I couldn't even tell you. I just completely forgot to do that, and I think that's what made me lose my top 32 game. Because my hand was just dog water. I was drawing like dog water, and I feel like had I actually power shuffled my deck, I probably would have had honestly, I think I would have won that game. Like, no disrespect to the opponent, but I think I would have won that game because he just simply wasn't pushing that hard. He wasn't trying that hard. It seemed like the game was flowing really slowly. He was playing Heartlooper, so you know. And as far as changes go, uh, the couple of things that I would change as far as running the Usurp build is probably switch to a Elementaria, just because there's no real reason. I like Elementaria. It always comes in handy every once in a blue moon, so why not? Clearly, you can't run these if you're running Usurp with the new ban list. So instead, we're going to be running a 4th copy of Philander. So we go 4 Philanders. And then I like to try Trident. Prize Trident is a promo card that came out a while ago. That at the end of the battle, that when your unit attacks, if it is the 5th battle of the turn, you could throw this into the soul and countercharge. It's good for soul recursion and for your countercharge to come back because there's no real resource management in this deck. So you go swing with a column with him boosting, swing with the Vanguard, and then whoever your next attack is, he's going to go into the soul immediately when it attacks and countercharge, just for some good resource management to come back. And then with the new list, I still run this, but now I also include 1, 2, and 3. And the reason why I include that many is because I actually cut one Athanasios. So 1 Ghost Chase to help pick up either PGs or Philanders, things to help me dig or help me survive from the board when I need to. 1 Margaret because I love Margaret in this deck. You have your Maediths that stun the opponent's rear guards. Well, when you Persona Ride and you call Maedith out, you CB1 stun the entire front row rear guard circles. So if they have 2 front rows in the rear guard, you go ahead and call out Maedith if you Persona Road. Counterblast 1, stun the front row. You spin with Maedith. When she attacks, you use her skill, stun the back row, so you like triangle lock them. Not as good as actual triangle lock, but you triangle stun them. And I think that's pretty solid. One of the tech cards that I almost ran for BCS, but I opted not to at the last minute, I probably should have, is Hoxsui and Red Rim. I think this card is super good in this deck, especially if you go first, because your order cards don't give you power if you are at grade 3 and the opponent is at grade 2 or less. So when you use this, it supplements the power gain that you would have had, but you lost because the opponent is at grade 2. So you go first, you ride up, you call him down. I only use the second effect. I don't use the first effect. His ability is when he's placed, you call out a plant token, and you can counterblast 1 and activate one of the skills. The first one is the one that I use, which is give your Vanguard the effect that anything called from a skill, any skill, it doesn't matter how it's called, as long as it's called due to an effect, it gets 5k power. And then the other effect is if you have 4 more rear guards, your Vanguard gets 5k power. It gets 5k power, and then if you have 4 more rear guards, it gets 10k power instead. You don't worry about the power gain on the Vanguard, you just do the rear guard one to beef up your numbers. He comes in super clutch early game, super clutch late game. He just makes you hit super hard. So I'm almost considering putting him to 2 and like maybe cutting a Ghost Chase, because I really like this card. I think he's really good. So those are just like the added innovations that I use for the ban list using Usurp. I'll probably put out another deck profile where I'm using Harvest Stuff instead. So yeah, that's my first top 2. I got 12th place. Pretty proud of that. I wanted to go further and win that Elementaria, but it is what it is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, when I update the deck profile for the Harvest Stuff build, I will throw that together and make a video of that as well. And hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you. See you later.